So, but my shirt was all ripped, I bloodied lip, black eye, and my nose was bleeding, So I washed myself up, cotton, whatever. So I'm not. But then in the 90s, and this was actually probably in the 80s, yeah, and I was around the neighborhood, we had friends, but I didn't really become friends with the gang members. Like, they knew who I was, I knew who they were, but that was it, But I did get in a lot of fights. And the fights weren't over money and things like that. It was always over honor. Like, somebody would say something like a little bit slight, and then you'd be like, what? And then you'd get into it, and fist fights, one-on-ones, things like that. I'd get jumped a few times. But I didn't really mess with gangs. When I was 12, I had a friend, his name was Sheikh. He was Iranian. Well, not Muslim, Christian. But we hung out because, I was Pakistani, he was Iranian, like, hey, whatever. But he was kind of a troublemaker. Like, he liked to start fights. I wasn't. I didn't start fights. And he got into a fight with some actual gang members, essays, from a gang called Lomas 27th Street. Still remember it. Well, 26th Street, 27, anyway. And they were beating him up, because he was 12, and they were 18-year-old big guys, but he started it. So I jumped in, like honor. My dad had this, Pashtun mindset,
So you jumped in because he's your friend, or
yeah,
or?
He's my friend. So he got into the fight. I just saw him getting beat up, so I went and rushed in and started fighting. He ran away. So the focus came on me. He ran away. I was like, whoa, bro, and I got beat up. I'm not gonna lie. Like this, it's not a movie. These are three big guys. They put a knife to my neck. They were kicking me in my head. And I stood. I fought, but I got beat up. So I got home, and I was always trying to hide it from my mom. I didn't want her to worry. So, but my shirt was all ripped. I bloodied lip, black eye, and my nose was bleeding, So I washed myself up, cotton, whatever, so I'm not bleeding. But when you walk home, she's gonna notice, right? She looks at me and she's like, "What happened?" She started crying, She calls my dad, because he's a man, so he can give me a talk. Now again, my parents were divorced, so my dad didn't live with me. So he drove out, and he had this Camaro, this muscle car back then, and he came in, he took me to a room, he sat me down, and he's like, "What happened?"
How old were you in this?
12.
You're 12.
12. And he asked me two questions. He said, "Did you run?" I said, "No." He said, "Did you cry?" I said, "No." I said, "Okay, all good." That's it. That's all that matters, right? Nothing about don't get in trouble or stay out of fight. No. He's like, "Let's go." All right, let's go. We got in his car, and he had a baseball bat he used to have in the trunk. And he started looking. He's like, "Where are those guys?" So every gang has a place they post up. Like, that's where they. So I knew where they post up, right? So I was like, I know where they're at. So we went there. So there was more of them than just those guys. But I told my dad that guy, So my dad popped the trunk. He took the bat out. He ran, and they weren't ready. He just ran at them and boom, knocked them. He cracked one of their heads, shattered the other one's shoulder, just beat them. So we broke back to my mom's house, which was my house, and then my dad dropped me off, and then he left. And the next day, I had to go to school by myself. I remember very vividly that day in school because I walked in with my Payless shoes on, and they were like, "Hey, that's that dead kid." And I remember I was walking down the hallway, and then there were people who were just like, "Oh my God, that's that guy that's going to get killed today. That's him." I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, that gang's been talking about it. Your dad put 3 of them in a hospital. They're coming after you today after school. You're dead." And Lomas is a big gang. Like I said, there may be about 500 strong, right? So you're a 12-year-old kid by yourself, and you got a gang that, has cartel connections and, 40, 50-year-old. These are old generational gangs, right? So I was like, I don't know, man. What are you going to do, right? So I remember I was going through the day, class to class, and then these other gang members from a gang called East Side San Diego, they came up to me and they were like, hey, we've seen you around, you can fight, you hold your own. We heard what happened. We don't get along with those gangs anyway, so you can join us and we'll back you, and we'll protect you, or you could die. It's up to you, So, it's like I said, it's not like the movies where they, try to force. It wasn't that. But they were like, look, here's your options, You go on your own, you're going to die. Literally, they're going to kill you. Your dad put 3 of them in a hospital. They can't let that go, because what kind of gang would be respected if somebody can put them in a hospital and they don't do anything back? And you're 12, if they even jump you, you're going to die. So it's like, all right, guess we get in a gang. So I joined the gang. And again, I want to clarify, there's difference between somebody well, I hung out with a gang. Well, sure, anybody can go hang out with a gang. But when you join a gang, you're an actual member, right?
Is there an initiation process?
Yeah, you get jumped in. So 13 seconds you have to stand, and they all hit you and beat you, and you take your lumps, and if you don't run and you don't fall, and you don't cry and you don't punk out, then you're in, right? If you do run or something, then they'll just beat you up and then you're not in the gang, you're out, right? Different gangs have different initiation. We were Sureños, Southern California Mexicans. So we had, that 13 was a figure that we used a lot. So Sur 13, which is the letter for the letter M, Mexican Mafia. So it was 13 seconds, but it felt like 13 hours, when you got 10 guys hitting you from every side. And they hit you hard because they want to see if you can fight, right? So, yeah. So after that, obviously the other gang did come. And when they saw that I was with these side, these guys had guns, they had guns. Everybody kind of stayed on their side and nothing happened. But once you're in the gang life, then you have to do your part, right? So you take orders from the veteranos, from the older guys, We have our brother here, he knows, brother Daniel knows. It's not like the movies where you just walk around all day and bully people or something. No, other gangs will come and take shots at you. Gangs will go to war over territory or drug sales or honor, or just, he looked at me wrong, and then once it's on, it's on. Baseball bats, crowbars. I've got marks here where my hair doesn't grow because I got hit with a golf club, which really hurt a lot more than even a baseball bat. You never realize golf clubs really hurt. Yeah. So I got jumped once, and I was at what they call a rave. I don't know what a rave is, right? But we were coming out, and it was one of those ditch schools kind of raves. So you ditch school, you went there, it was in a park, and then you were coming out, and then the enemy gang was just right there, Southeast guys. And they ran up, and I was with a friend, but I didn't have my gang with me, so I was like, okay, let's do one-on-one, because that's the better odds for me, And they were like, all right. So there was a guy from SEK called Choke, and me and him started going one-on-one, right? And alhamdulillah, I got him. I punched him. I got him really good. He fell down. I was like, all right. And then they were like, well, we'll just jump you then. And then I remember I punched him. I got him down. I was like, whew. And then I felt, this golf club hit me. And then when it hit me, I remember the pain, and then it was blanked out. And then I just remember looking up, and these guys were all golf clubs were just swinging as if they're at the drive, They were trying to 18 hole on me, man. So they were swinging those golf clubs, and all I could do was kick. I was on the floor, so I was just kicking away. So I still have scars on my legs from it. So that was the kind of life that was. And then when I got jumped, when I got back up, I couldn't go to a hospital. I couldn't, we couldn't go to the police because we had a code. We didn't rat. So you just got, by the time I got up, just dusted myself off. Blood was flowing, Got on a city bus, and I remember the bus driver was yelling at me, "You're bleeding all over my bus." I'm like, what do you want me to do, bro? I went home. My mom was still at work, so I got some, hydrogen peroxide. I just poured it, wrapped up my bandages, and didn't tell my mom, didn't tell anybody else. Didn't go to a hospital. Went to my school, told my guys hey man, this is what happened. They were like, all right, well, let's pay him back. Where does he live at? Well, we know where he lives. We went to his house. knocked on his door, and we'll leave it there.
It's crazy.